So this video is covering homework 18, which is factoring trinomials when A is equal to 1. So we have a trinomial. There's one term, two terms, three terms. And so what we're going to do is use a strategy called split the middle. And so we're going to find the first and last number and multiply them together. So my first number here is an invisible 1 times 12. So I'm going to be looking for a set of numbers that multiply to 12. And then the middle number is my 7. So I need to start listing all of the factors that multiply together to make 12. I always start with 1. So 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. And those are the only factors that multiply to 12. Not only do they have to multiply to 12, but I need them to add to this middle number. So I'm going to add them. 1 plus 12, 2 plus 6, 3 plus 4. So I pick the set of numbers that fulfills both. It multiplies to this last number and adds to the middle number. So this is the set of numbers I'm going to use, the 3 and the 4. So I'm going to take these 3 terms and make them into 4 terms. The first term will always be whatever the first term originally was, so x squared. The next term is going to be one of these numbers, and we have to make sure that we have a sign in between each of our terms. So because the 3 and the 4 are both positive, it's plus 3. And then whatever variable is on that middle number is what goes with the new numbers we found. And then we have plus 4x. And then the last term is always whatever the last term was in the original. So plus 12. So what we just did there was split that middle term of 7x into 3x plus 4x. And then we're back to doing what we did on the last part of homework 17, where we grouped the first 2 terms together and the second 2 terms together. And I found the greatest common factor is an x, and that's what goes in this blank. And then x squared divided by x gives me x. 3x divided by x is plus 3. And then I need to find the greatest common factor of these 2 terms, which is plus 4. Plus 4. I need to have a sign here, so plus 4. And then 4x divided by 4 is x. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and I need this to be plus 3. My 2 parentheses need to match, and so I write that first parenthesis one time, or I write the parenthesis that is alike, I write it one time. And then the second parenthesis is everything that's left over, which is my x plus 4. And then this is my answer. So problem number 2, again, I'm going to split the middle. I'm going to multiply the first and last numbers. So that gives me negative 15. And then I'm going to add to the middle term. So now that this one is a negative, one of my factors is going to have to be negative, and it'll have to be my smaller factor, because then when I add those together, I need a positive number. So I'm going to start with 1, so negative 1 times 15. Negative 2 doesn't work. Negative 3 times 5. And those are the only factors that multiply to negative 15. So then I'm going to add those. So negative 1 plus 15 and negative 3 plus 5. Well, the negative 3 plus 5 is the set of numbers that works for both multiplying to negative 15 and adding to 2. So now I'm going to split this into 4 terms. My first term will be y squared. My last term will be negative 15. And my middle terms will be negative 3, and then I need the variable y, plus 5y. And then I'm ready to group the first two and then group the second two terms. So the greatest common factor for my y squared minus 3y is y. And my greatest common factor goes out here in front. Then y squared divided by y is y. Negative 3y divided by y is negative 3. The greatest common factor for 5y and negative 15 would be plus 5. Plus 5. And that goes right here. And then 5y divided by 5 is y. Negative 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. My two parentheses match, so I write that once. And then my second parenthesis is everything that's left over, which is the y plus 5. And then this is my answer. So number 3, same thing again. First number times the last number, 56. And it needs to add to the middle number, negative 15. And so for two numbers to multiply to a positive, but then add to a negative, both of my factors will have to be negative. So negative 1 times negative 56, negative 2 times negative 28. Let's see if it divides by 3. No. Divides by 4. I have negative 4 times negative 14. Does 56 divide by 5 evenly? No. Divide by 6 evenly? No. Divide by 7 evenly? Yes. So negative 7 times negative 8. So then I need to figure out which set of factors will add. Sorry, negative 1 plus negative 56 will add to negative 15. And so the set of numbers that works is my negative 7 and negative 8. So up here, my first term is z squared. My last term is plus 56. My inside terms are negative 7z minus 8z. Z. I will group the first two, group the second two. My greatest common factor here is Z. And then Z squared divided by Z is Z. Negative 7Z divided by Z is negative 7. And then my greatest common factor for negative 8 and positive 56 is going to be negative 8. Negative 8. And negative 8. Z divided by negative 8 is Z. 56 divided by negative 8 is minus 7. So my parentheses match. So I have Z minus 7 times everything that's left, which is Z minus 8. Okay, I'm skipping down to number 7 because the others were very similar to each other. But 7 is a little different because you'll notice there are 2 letters here. But we still multiply our first number and our last number. So we have 40. And then our middle number is 13. So I'm going to start with 1. So 1 times 40, 2 times 20, 3 does not go into 40, 4 times 10, 5 times 8, and then I need to find which set will add to 13. So 1 plus 40, 2 plus 20, 4 plus 10, 5 plus 8, and that is my pair. So my first term is W squared. My last term is plus 40F squared. My middle terms, so plus 5, and remember my variables need to be the same as the middle numbers. So 5WF plus 8WF. And then I group my first 2 terms and group my second 2 terms. The greatest common factor of W squared plus 5WF would be W. And then when I do my divide, W squared divided by W is W. 5WF divided by W. Those W's cancel, so I have plus 5F. And then my greatest common factor of 8WF and 40F squared is going to be plus 8F. So then 8FW divided by 8F, so my 8's would go away and my F's would go away, and I'm left with that W. And then 40 divided by the 8 gives me the 5. And then F squared divided by F is just F. So then my middle terms, or my middle parentheses do match. So W plus 5F times W plus 8F. And that is my answer.